Hey, what's up? This is Pat Lynch.
And I'm Taco Bob. You're not rocking out with WJRR.
Lock it in here with Marc Daniels and the beat of sports.
Happy Friday. And a football Friday indeed. It's here, boys and girls. The season is underway, high school, college, and wrapping up the preseason. You know what it smells like?
Smells like fantasy football draft season.
Decaf coffee. Fantasy draft. That guy said it. Oh, draft. I don't care.
I got
Just go. Do it. Do your thing. Don't worry about it.
7 o'clock draft on the 1st.
Jackass. Off we go. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, Mark. How are you?
I'm all right. Good. I'm honored today. I've been asked to host the kickoff luncheon for the Cure Bowl.
Nice.
So I'll be hosting that. So I'm going to bug out a little bit earlier today, but excited. So that's, I got the kind of business casual look here.
Yeah, you actually look like you're ready for a little vacation.
Yeah, but I'll be changing shirts.
Ah, okay.
But it's still casual.
Yeah. You look like you'd fit in at like a Cuban restaurant right now.
Serving?
No, just
Eating?
dining.
I'm fine with that.
Get a little fedora.
Really?
Yeah.
I told Chris and Kelly on the bridge last night I made homemade jambalaya, which is absolutely fantastic. And I totally planned on bringing in them both a little sample, but then I made the decision that I was excited about the potential of full leftovers tonight, so I didn't bring anything in.
It's fine. It's fine. I got my bagel. It's fine.
I don't feel bad.
Fine.
I didn't even have to tell you, but I just thought, hey, I was thinking about it, but I just didn't do it.
It's fine. That's where we're at in our working
Can I
relationship.
wish your wife an early happy birthday?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Chris and his lovely wife will be going out for dinner on Sunday night.
Mark has planned our entire evening
You got a
for
good
us.
plan, though.
I like it.
I simplified things
Yeah.
for you. Yeah, that'll be good. Be nice. So yeah, and it's now less than a week before UCF starts.
Mm-hmm.
How sick am I?
Oh God.
At 6:45 before I started cooking the jambalaya last night, I'm watching West Florida football. I got my ESPN, whatever it's called now, and I'm going just clicking games, man. I'm just clicking on games. I got Maine football. I'm going back and forth. Yeah.
I was
What is wrong with me?
I was babysitting my nephew last night, and I had the Dodgers and Braves on.
I did watch that. Man, that was a great pitching matchup last night.
Can't stop Chris Sale.
Man, that was Braves sweep the Dodgers.
That's right.
Wow.
So much for all that talent on the Dodgers roster. Maybe they're not World Series favorites.
We got a high school football preview coming up. Florida State begins their season. Richard Hale's going to talk with us. You know, I don't even know anymore. Like, I thought I had a pretty good idea how the justice system works. Like, I thought I knew how you appeal a case, where it goes. I don't know anymore after yesterday's. I simply have no idea. But we'll talk to Richard about that. Mike O'Donnell, weekend review, all that stuff. Here's everybody's favorite segment.
It's almost like an unwritten rule that when you become a father, you become king of the bad dad jokes.
What is Forrest Gump's password? One Forrest one.
Are you ready to laugh? We know at least one person is. Here's CB's dad joke of the day.
That's so great.
Remembered my mug today. All right, Mark. I asked you one or two yesterday. You picked one. So now here is number 2. It's a good one.
Oh, boy. He's laughing already.
Did you hear about the lady who sleeps on top of a chandelier?
No, Chris, I didn't hear about the lady who sleeps on top of a chandelier.
She's a light sleeper. Sleeping on top of lights.
More sports, more banter, more Marc Daniels. This is the beat of sports.
Before we dive into the high school football report, I'm a big believer in this, Chris, that if you make a reservation in a restaurant for dinner and you're not going to go, you need to cancel the reservation.
100%.
And I think you need to do it in a timely manner. Sometimes emergencies pop up, but, if on a Tuesday you make a reservation for Friday or Saturday and you get to the day before and you're like, we're not going to make it, you need to cancel the reservation.
Yes.
You know what's out of control?
What's that?
Hey, let us know you're coming. You get those texts or the emails like, hey, let so-and-so know you're coming. If I haven't canceled yet, I'm coming.
But not everyone's like that.
But I am.
Well, they don't know that.
But this place my wife and I are going tomorrow, this is the third let us know you're coming.
Okay, you can. When did they start this?
When did what start this? This one or?
Yeah. You said this is the third time that they said.
I got it twice yesterday and now one today.
What?
Yeah, I
Twice
know.
in the same
I know.
day?
I'm telling you. Yeah. Yeah.
At that point, it's almost out of spite that I don't want to show up.
Yeah, she really wants to go to this place. So anyway, let's get to the high school report.
Time now for the Southeast Steel High School Football Report. A preview of tonight's biggest games across Central Florida. Southeast Steel Appliance Warehouse on Amelia Street in downtown Orlando since 1940. Online at southeaststeel.net. At Southeast Steel, you get the best deal.
All right, high school football. Last night out in California, Bishop Moore lost. They lost last week, and they get beat again to Palos Verdes 21-18 in the game. And again, they traveled across the country for. It's an awesome lineup. It's week 2 of the high school football season, and there are some incredible matchups. Over in the land tonight, they will welcome St. Francis Academy based in Maryland. If you know anything about high school football on a national level, it's been one of the best programs in the country for a number of years. And Rick Darlington scheduled this game, and I read the story that Chris Hayes had in the Sentinel this week. Part of why St. Francis is coming down here is, they play national schedule, but the land had a hard time getting games. And tonight they get one of the best teams in the country, St. Francis Academy, over in DeLand. Tonight it's Beck Martin Stadium. Locally, First Academy in Edgewater tonight. Woo! Man, big matchup. 7 o'clock over at Edgewater. Lake Mary will host DeVito tonight. Seminole plays at Lake Howell. Evans will host Boone tonight, 2 of Orlando's oldest high schools doing battle. Eastridge will host Leesburg. Innovation is at Windermere. Lyman plays at Lake Brantley tonight. St. Cloud, who beat Osceola last week. I text J.C. Carney and I said, when's the last time that happened? And when he told me, he goes, and they had to forfeit the game because an ineligible player. But St. Cloud comes off the victory against Osceola last week. They'll take on Marietta, Georgia tonight. Elsewhere, Cypress Creek is at Colonial. Deltona plays at University in Orange City. Eustis plays at Mount Dora. Other games tonight in the area. Winter Springs plays at Haggerty tonight. Lake Highland Preps at Foundation Academy. Lake Mineola is at Gateway. Oak Ridge plays at Freedom. Olympia and Timber Creek do battle tonight. Poinciana will play Osceola, still looking for a win after getting beat last week. Tavares in Celebration tonight. Winter Park and Apopka will play at Showalter Field tonight. Apopka lost last week, looking at a potential 0-2 start. Wekiva plays at Lake Buena Vista tonight. If I didn't mention your school, nothing personal. We have limited time to get everybody in. But some monster games in high school football tonight. Our high school football report is brought to you by our friends at Southeast Steel Appliance Warehouse. Upcoming Labor Day sales event. Learn more by going to southeaststeel.net. At Southeast Steel, you get the best deal. All right, college football. We had games played last night, but tomorrow we have a slate of games of teams that a lot of people have recognized. North Carolina plays TCU in the first game tomorrow. And, Chris, what a difference a year makes. From the time that Bill Belichick made his debut with Michael Jordan and all the other dignitaries, and people are like, this team's going to the playoffs, man. And then the second half of that game happened, and then now a year later, They take on TCU, who's had some off-the-field messes by banning a local paper. But if they lose big tomorrow, and they may, I think TCU is actually going to be pretty good this year. I think they got a chance to be a 9-win team. It's going to get bad. And remember how he got the job. Bubba Cunningham, who's stepping down as the AD, retiring, partly because he doesn't want this crap that he's been dealing with. The guy that Bubba Cunningham wanted to hire, John Summerall. The board of trustee leader stepped in with his people and said, no, we're hiring Bill Belichick. And Bubba Cunningham said, do what y'all want to do. I'm leaving, do what y'all want to do. And they poured all that money into it, gave Belichick everything that he wanted. And now you got this.
Just because he was successful at the NFL level doesn't mean it's going to translate to college. And especially in today's world of the transfer portal and pay for play and all that. I mean,
Bill Belichick's legacy is going to be fine. The further you get removed of the bad stuff, you tend to have the good stuff. And his place in football history is secure because the Super Bowl wins. I never thought this was going to work in college, not because the X and O's part of it, but because of constructing a roster. Forget the portal. It's just different. And I don't think he, and certainly Mike Lombardi, whatever the hell he was doing off the field, had a clue. And the whole thing, I mean, we're going to be the 33rd NFL team. Just had no clue. And this is where they're
well,
at.
I do think the more we get removed from the success that Bill Belichick had, the more people.
But I think he's done after this year.
For his sake, I hope so.
It'll be a blip on the radar. San Jose State, USC will go at 3 o'clock on NBC tomorrow. NC State and Virginia. This game was supposed to be in Brazil. It's now in Charlottesville. North Dakota State plays Jacksonville State, their first game since moving up to FBS. They're now members of the Mountain West. Sacramento State, Eastern Michigan, then Hawaii, Stanford. Tomorrow night, it'll be New Mexico State and Florida State. More from Mike Norvell on Ashton Daniels and the leadership qualities that he likes.
You think somebody has those teammates, you got to prove it to them every single day. And watching him and that team and seeing the way that those guys, respect him. I mean, the way they compete, I'm talking about the defensive guys. Like it is a fun, it's a fun group to coach, and he's got his spirit, the competitor that he is. I mean, he's made some just incredible plays. Obviously got some great talent around him.
He's 5-18 as a starting quarterback. But no, I said with Cam Elder yesterday, in some defense of Ashton Daniels, every place that he was at, it was a panic coaching staff that was fighting to keep their job.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe. Oh, wait, he stepped in another panic situation.
Yeah. Ain't much better.
I mean, there's so many things about Mike Norvell that makes it tough, but get it wrong again at quarterback, and it would likely be the end. But, again, they'll win tomorrow. The key is what they do against SMU a week from Monday.
Do they have to win by at least 40?
Tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
No.
You can't win by 10.
Yes, you can.
No.
Or what? He's not getting fired on.
He's not going to get fired, but the seat gets even hotter, and it means...
No. It doesn't matter at all because I'll play your game. If they win 40-30, it only fuels the critics to go, I can't believe what I'm watching. And then what if he beats SMU 28-23? Then we're all good again. I mean, it's the journey, the roller coaster. He's going to be measured by the 12 games that he plays and the journey to get there. If you're an FSU fan, I think you want to win by 40 points tomorrow. Yeah. But if you win by 40 points tomorrow, does that fix everything?
Gives you, whether it's fake or not, gives you some semblance of hope that this roster is at least trending in the right direction.
Then you're just a gullible fan. I mean, seriously, if you watch the game tomorrow and they win 50-10 and you think they're back, that's on you. I mean, that's just...
You can't think they're back, but it's, again...
You hope if you're a fan that they win like that, but you can't conclude that game going, I think we're going to be just fine. You can't. And I say the same thing to a degree about UCF and Florida. Florida's got FAU and Campbell before Auburn. Okay? If they win by an average of 45 points a game, you cannot say to yourself, man, they're locked in. Go to Auburn and win, and then you can feel better about yourself. If you're UCF and you beat Bethune-Cookman by 40, you can't say, man, I love what they got. They got to go to Pitt the next week and win. Then you get a better idea about what you have. Let's not do this and get caught up in this stuff. And I think it works both ways. If these teams win by an average of 14, 15 points, people will complain. But then when you get to games that are true measuring sticks, that's a better idea.
If you're Florida State, you got to win big. You have to win big.
Well, I think they will. I don't think New Mexico State's very good to even hang around for a while. UNLV Memphis is the other game tomorrow night out in Nevada. That's our college football quick preview. Let's get Bobby in here from Mohegan's 10 o'clock hour. WYGM Orlando, WJR HD2 Cocoa Beach. How you doing?
Doing great. There we go.
There we go.
Hey, nice false start.
Thanks, Chris.
First and 15. Putting us in the hole. You doing good?
I'm doing great. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What's happening in your world?
I mean, it's Friday. I get to come in here, talk
Football
about beer with you
season.
guys. Football season around the corner. I'm living the dream, really.
Guys want to trade for running back? What was that? What was that so early out of me there?
All right.
It was a little hot. I came in hot right
You know
there.
what? I had a fantasy draft. I'm in a league with Chris, which was real fun because he's right behind me. It was a snake draft, so he's just ruining my entire day.
Mark loves this talk.
I also ended up halfway through.
Who'd you
I'm
get?
like, I got Neighbors and Scattaboo, and I'm like, I'm drafting too many giant people.
You took Cam Scattaboo?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Round 36?
Yeah, I freaked out. I started taking Packer players after that. I'm like, it's done.
All right.
I'm going to enjoy this season.
All right. What'd you bring in today, man? What do you got?
To celebrate the start of the football season around the corner, I did bring in one of our core classics here, our 1967 West Coast IPA.
Great year.
Was a great year.
Was born.
Mark was born. Best team in the country won the Super Bowl.
Whoa.
A lot of things to celebrate.
Oh, man.
America's true team.
Tell us about the beer.
Classic West Coast style IPA brewed with Cascade, Simcoe, and Centennial hops. So they're like classic American style hops. You get citrusy, dank, piney aromatics, full flavor all the way through. Finishes nice and crisp, a little dry on the end, and just that everything you want in that. I think a classic West Coast style IPA, 6.7% alcohol, so it's not too heavy. So you can enjoy a few, watch some games, enjoy it.
So
Nice.
you mentioned that it's, the classic West Coast IPA. How has the West Coast IPA kind of evolved over the years? Where is it at now? Like, what kind of funky things are people doing?
Well, they're 3 hours behind us always.
that's a good start. So it has evolved. Back in like the 90s, early 2000s, you get like the brew pub style. Like it's where this whole like style kind of originated from back in like the early 80s to 90s. It used to have a lot more caramel malts to it, a lot maltier. As it's evolved over the past 20, 30 years, the West Coast is a little bit more of a lighter style and color, less crystal malts, more firm classic bitterness to it. The more modern styles will have fruitier, more tropical, citrusy flavors to there. We like to do, if we're going to do a West Coast, I want to be really dry. I want it to have those dank, piney aromatics to it, and just have those classic West Coast style hops in there. And then once we get to those more citrusy, tropical, fruitier hops, I like to call it more of like an American style IPA, but that's my tangent.
When you see DIPA on a can or DDH on a can, what do those mean, and what's the difference between the two?
Yeah, so if you see like a DIPA, it's just abbreviation for double IPA, which essentially is not going to be just a duplicate or double actually of a recipe of a single IPA, but it's going to be a little bit higher alcohol content, going to be at least 8% and up, so more of an imperial style IPA. If you see something like DDH or TDH or anything like that, it's going to be double dry hopped, triple dry hopped, which is just a technique that we use in brewing for IPAs or anything we want more hop aromatics to, which is where we add the hops in after fermentation. And I know we did that beer last year with you guys, the Model Consistency. It was as American Pale Ale. You came through on that initial day we were brewing it. Hops were going in the boil. That's setting our IBUs, our initial bitterness level. With that, we dry hopped it after the fact. I believe that one was actually double dry hopped, if I'm not mistaken. We added in, after that fermentation, we added hops into the fermenter and let it soak on there. So we're not necessarily getting bitterness from it, but we're getting those aromatics from those hops.
Is that required to put on the can?
Not required, but we do. It's something fun for people to know and just to see, and one of our biggest things is education. So just like what Chris said, even if we put it on there and you don't know, we want you to be able to ask that question.
Yeah.
What does DDH mean? What does dry hop mean? And we can kind of learn and inform people about what they're drinking and how they're consuming it, and it kind of changes the whole aspect of it. If you approach something that you know more about, I think you're going to be more apt to appreciate it.
There's 3 weeks left of the season of summer. When does the season really change for beers? That you might shift towards things based on time of year and stuff.
Way too soon, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I've seen a big change in the past 10 years, but I mean, it's now towards the end of July and start of August. We'll start to see like pumpkin beers and like all the Oktoberfest beers and stuff out, which I get. Everybody's trying to be more first to the market and get out in front of people. I still a little bit more traditional. I like to come out with it in the season. So for me, like third week of September.
But I don't even mean from a marketing standpoint. I mean about the stuff that you're putting in. That the old days you started the Farmer's Almanac and so forth. But when do you begin to say, hey, there's better stuff for the beers that we want in the fall versus the summer?
Yeah, usually. So we usually start brewing in July for our fall beers.
Okay.
Especially like our Botoberfest is around the corner.
Yeah.
We're having it on the October 3rd in Castleberry, on the 10th in Avalon Park, and those beers take at least 8 weeks or so to brew. So those are more maltier lagers and stuff like that. So we've made that turn now towards the end of the actual summer. We start brewing that, so that's ready in a couple months for those fall seasons.
Do you think an early release of like not a Botoberfest, but like an Oktoberfest beer kind of hurts it, given that the season's going to last a little bit longer and you release it maybe a little bit too early?
Yeah, for me, they're coming out too early. I don't need a pumpkin beer when it's 105 degrees outside. But I get why people are doing it. So it doesn't take anything away from that beer, and people that enjoy them, they're going to be out there. Ours, like I said, we'll come out with ours towards in the September, October. You'll start to see our fall beers come out. Doesn't necessarily take away from it. I mean, for people that enjoy it, it just means you get a longer time frame of enjoying those beers.
Right.
Which it is honestly one of my favorite times of years when we start to do our Marzen, our Schwarzbier, our Helles, all of our German Oktoberfest style ones. I can't wait. I'm gonna be wearing lederhosen for a full month.
What's coming up? Do you want to tell people about?
Yeah. So besides like we just started talking about, we started brewing for Oktoberfest. So October 3rd and October 10th at our respective tap rooms in Castleberry and Avalon Park. We're gearing up for that. September we're going to be running specials at both tap rooms all month long. We got our brand new kitchen in Castleberry, so always some new fun stuff coming out there. So come check us out. One Castleberry tap rooms in the corner of 436 and Redbug in Castleberry. The other one's in Avalon Park, Marketplace at Avalon. Bowigans.com, BOWIGENS.com, and social media at Bowigans Beer Company.
What quarterback did you get in that league?
Chris, you want to tell him?
I'd have to look up.
I got OJ Love. I went Jordan Love early. I just said,
Was it a desperate pick, Chris?
no.
Of course it was.
Listen,
Of course it was.
it was an early pick
I'll allow
for
the
the
30
draft.
seconds of
I'll give
fantasy
you
talk.
that. But I think he's going to be a top 3, top 4 quarterback in stats this league for this year. I'll put money on it, Chris, so we can talk about that later. But
Been drinking a little too much OG Kush.
Who's
just
your
watch.
quarterback, Chris, in that league?
Josh Allen.
Okay. Where'd you take him?
I think 4th round, 3rd
Okay.
round, 4th round.
Okay. All right. Bobby, thanks for coming by.
I appreciate it, guys.
Richard Hill talks sports and law and a lot of that stuff happening this week. We'll get to that next.
Time now for this week's Sports Law segment with Richard Hale.
We talk sports and law on these Fridays. Richard Hale is our sports law expert. Hale and Jacobson is the firm online at hhjlegal.com. Good morning, Richard. How are you?
Doing well, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. All right. Look, it's been a topic for several months, so let's dive into the latest on the whole eligibility front. It's been a crazy week of the Power Four conferences all stepping forward. First the Big Ten, and then the others about, hey, here's our new rule regarding people that are pro athletes that are coming back. But I'm curious here. We have a judge now in Texas that said, hey, no, Mike or the Greg Sank of the SEC, you can't do this. So here's a temporary restraining order. These players are eligible. They can go back. So several layers going on here, but can you help me? And I thought I did a pretty good job paying attention in high school and college of understanding our judicial system, certainly not to your level, but how cases are heard, where appeals go. Who's in charge where somebody's ruling holds? Is it have to get to the Supreme Court? Because it just seems like every day, well, okay, this federal judge did this, then somebody else comes along, no, never mind. What is happening that judges' rulings don't matter 12 hours later? And am I missing something here, or what's going on that it doesn't matter what a judge says one day, we'll just go find someone else who says, no, I interpret it differently. What's happening here?
Yeah, so to answer your question, there is a hierarchy of courts that exist. Obviously, the lowest level being your state court decisions, and then, a step up from that being federal court decisions, and then obviously the federal court that is the highest in the land is our U.S. Supreme Court. And so if you think about it in those terms, obviously anything that the U.S. Supreme Court rules has effect on any court that is below that, so including the federal courts, including the state courts. Now, what you're seeing here is, and let me remind you too, within each of those hierarchies, if you will, there are appellate courts. And so you may have a decision that's rendered in, let's call it Orange County, Florida, by a state court judge, and that opinion may be issued here, local circuit, which we're in the Sixth Circuit here. But then we have a district court of appeals that's called the Sixth District Court of Appeals that would hear any appeal of that state court decision. Same would occur for federal court, right? If you get a federal court decision that is issued here in Orlando, then that's going to go to a regional federal court. It's that case's appeal that's going to go to a regional federal court that makes a decision. And what we are looking for as we're kind of spanning the landscape of decisions that are coming out are conflicts that may exist between courts of equal weight. So if, for example, we had a decision out of the Orange County Circuit Court that conflicted with a decision out of a Hillsborough County Circuit Court, because those two courts exist in what we're going to call different DCAs or district courts of appeal, then we would have a conflict that may exist that the DCA would say, we're going to take this up and we're going to execute a decision based on the difference in the law that we're seeing here. So what you're seeing, yes, is as you suggested, you are seeing what we're calling forum shopping, which is where you're going around trying to find a court that will rule favorably for you. We are seeing forum shopping, but keep in mind that any appeal of that decision is going to be heard by a higher court who may not necessarily have the same regional bias as the court that hears the original decision. And I'm calling it regional bias because it's becoming clear to me that, yes, there is some at least regional interest in decisions that are being made. And we're supposed to, we're supposed to believe in a blind judiciary that hears cases on their merits and decides accordingly. But as more and more decisions present themselves, I think it's becoming clear that there is a little bit of regional bias here. And that is why we're seeing some of the forum shopping that we're seeing. I'll say this as well, just in furtherance of answering your question. The courts are the end all to these decisions. So we did see an effort this week by some of the conferences to, institute their own rules. Those are largely irrelevant when it comes to decisions that are made by the courts. And so here, in this particular instance, the case you were talking about that came out yesterday, the decision out of Dallas, this is a shot across the bow to these conferences that feel like they're going to step in here and create rules. The NCAA in June ruled it's 5 years of eligibility and 5 years of play. So that's the law. And so any effort to circumvent that law or to preclude players from playing in a certain league is going to be looked at with great scrutiny because the NCAA has made the law. And until that law is somehow overturned or revisited, or it goes to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court says, hey, this law is unconstitutional, this is sticking around for a while. And the judge was very clear yesterday. We will address this, so these situations on a case-by-case basis, but that's how it's going to be looked at, a case-by-case basis. This isn't going to be some, overturning of a rule just because some conference thinks that they hold all the cards here. That's not what's happening.
You can read what the judge said and understand it far better than me. I think the judge is wrong. And here's why. Because the NCAA allows its conferences to set its own rules. It's in its bylaws. And to me, what I read the judge yes is, hey, no. It's the NCAA that sets the blanket rule, and a conference doesn't have that right. That's wrong. It's in the NCAA bylaws that once they accept the existence of a conference, then that conference has the right to create rules. Now, it can't be such that, hey, you can't pay, like 20 years, can't pay players, and the SEC says we can. But that's what I didn't understand about the judge's ruling yesterday. A conference has the right to set its policies, and the members vote on that. So I'm just confused when he said, no, I'll supersede. And then I guess the other confusing part of it is, other than I understand I got alumni and season ticket holders, how can we just keep interpreting the law just differently when a judge says, this is how I see it, this is the law? And I bring it up, here in Orange County, UCF tried to get a kid from Kansas another year of eligibility. He tried to claim what Diego Pavi did. Look, I went to junior college. That shouldn't count. The judge said, look, to me, you should be able to play, but I have to follow the rule that was put in place that a judge already ruled on. It's like, I can't change the ruling. We just assume that all these rulings, I see it differently. I didn't go to law school. I'm not a judge. How can people see everything so differently sometimes? I know I'm laughing about it, but it's head-scratching, some of this stuff.
Well, it's a very poorly constructed statutory construct that the NCAA, the language of the NCAA statute is very poorly constructed.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it leaves open itself for widespread interpretation. And that's why you're seeing some of the differences. I think two people can sit down and read it the same way, but I think there are two people that could sit down and read it entirely differently as well.
You're right.
And that's why we're getting such conflicting decisions. And, unfortunately, as you've suggested, there doesn't seem to be a lot of consistency across the jurisdictions. And your heart goes out to some of those players that, for whatever reason, aren't going to be able to play because possibly they didn't pick the right judge or because this law is being unfairly construed.
Help me with this. The judge hunting thing we talked about for months. Does it in this case, the NCAA have a right to say, no, we're not going there because it's obvious what you're doing? How can there not be a third party that says, look, you can't go to that? Like Will Wade has a judge in Baton Rouge. He was telling players to file a suit here because they had a judge that was going to rule favorably. How is there not an independent party that goes, you can't take this case there?
Yeah, certainly there is in those situations. There are motions that you can file to recuse a particular judge if you feel that they're, if you feel that they cannot be impartial in a particular case. And so the NCAA would have every option to file one of those motions. I'll tell you what the problem in those particular cases is that the person that hears that motion is the chief judge of that particular circuit or whatever. So you can see where this is going, right? That chief judge is then going to have to take over the case, and they don't want to do the extra work.
Right.
And so oftentimes they'll punt on that particular motion. But yeah, you can imagine there are motions filed all the time to try to recuse a judge if you feel that they can't be impartial. But the standard's really high. It'd have to be something like, hey, this judge previously represented State Farm when they were a lawyer, and now State Farm has a big case in front of them, it's going to be hard for the judge to be impartial. Those are instances where a judge may choose to recuse themselves.
Wouldn't season ticket
happens more
holders
often than not.
sometimes play a factor too? Let me move on here because there'll be plenty more days and weeks that we'll talk about that. Jed York is part of the 49ers ownership. By now, people know the story. I'm not endorsing anything that he did. You're responsible for the decisions that you make as an adult. It's 2026, okay? You can bet in any state you want right now. In certain states, you can do what he tried to do legally. He gets pulled over. I understand what he did. I guess he reached out to the contact multiple times, but he didn't exchange money. Is it through the text or email of him agreeing? Is that the crime that he broke? Because he didn't actually hand the, I guess, undercover cop $140. And what's the likelihood that these charges get reduced?
Well, the likelihood's good. They've already been reduced. We can talk about that in a second. But it's important in these types of cases to know what the requirement is in your particular jurisdiction. So, every jurisdiction may treat our particular crime a little bit differently in terms of what has to be proven. I think at a bare minimum here, he could have been charged with solicitation, and certainly the solicitation wouldn't actually require the transfer of money. I mean, doing what he did was enough, and we won't get into the details. But as opposed to getting a prostitution charge, which obviously would carry a heavier sentence, what they did in this particular case. And it in large part is probably because of what you just pointed to and the lack of evidence supporting, that anything actually happened. This charge was reduced. They found him with only 2 counts, one being a disorderly conduct, which carries with it a small fine, and then the other being that he had a tool to commit a crime, in this case, a cell phone, which obviously the inappropriate texts were a part of, that the cell phone itself was a tool that would have allowed him to commit a crime. Again, that's a charge that doesn't carry with it a very heavy sentence. And so what we're finding here is that he basically pled no contest to those 2 lesser charges in exchange for a sentence that only included the fine and I believe 1 day that he spent in jail. So, you make a good point in that, the prosecutor and the government have to look at what can they prove in every case, and then they have to look at what are the requirements of the law in their particular jurisdiction, and marry those 2 together before they decide what to charge. In this case, they decided, hey, we don't feel like we can, hit the home run here. We're going to make him accept these lesser charges, and he'll pay the fine and move on. Now, bear in mind, the NFL has its own, disciplinary code of conduct. He will be likely subject to whatever the NFL discipline puts down. But in terms of a court of law here, his case has been resolved at this point.
All right, quickly, the last story. Guys by a golf driving range, someone hits an errant shot, it hits a pole and then ricochets into the groin area of somebody nearby. Allow me to read. Chris is going to laugh here. Presented with excruciating left scrotal pain on a scale of 10 out of 10. They're seeking $5 million. I can imagine it hurt. Chris is laughing. $5 million, Rich, a lot of money for shot below the belt. Your thoughts?
Well, I guess it depends on what you're using your moneymaker for. If $5 million doesn't sound like a lot, I mean, I think for the guys out there, I can appreciate how bad it hurts. I'm not sure if maybe he's now having marital difficulties as a result. Maybe he was a bathing suit model, and this is now compromised his ability to make a living. So I'm not exactly sure how they're calculating their damages. The key part to this particular story, in my mind, is how do you prove the liability portion, right? You're on a driving range. I would think that there is some expectation that somebody's going to hit an errant shot and, God forbid you get hit where he got hit, but it could happen. What they're trying to prove here is that the design of the driving range was defective and that the pole that the ball ricocheted off of should have never been there in the first place, so that there was a design defect in the construct of the driving range that would have prevented this particular, incident from occurring. Now, what they have to show there is that obviously, it was reasonably foreseeable somehow that the ball could have ricocheted off this pole and hurt somebody. The damages portion, as we discussed, will be another part to prove. Whether it's worth $5 million or not, I don't know. Keep in mind, this lawsuit was filed against the city of Mesa, and so they will have some sovereign immunity. So his damages will be capped in accordance with whatever the sovereign immunity rules are for the city or town of Mesa. His damages will be capped. So let's be mindful of that as we monitor this one moving forward.
It hurt reading the story. I'll leave it at that. Richard, have a great weekend. Thank you, my friend.
All right, take care, Mark.
Richard Hale, Hale and Jacobson, the firm, online at hhjlegal.com. Mike O'Donnell talks hoops next.
Let's talk college hoops. Let's talk hoops with college basketball analyst Mike O'Donnell.
We do talk basketball and life with our good friend Mike O'Donnell on these Fridays. Good morning, Mr. O'Donnell. How are you?
Oh, Mr. Daniels, I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
I'm fine. You don't sound like you're great. Something wrong? Did Chris bother you?
No, Chris never bothers me. It's two things. Number one, like I'm empathizing with Chris, just as a father, it's like early on, there's just a lot of battles you got to fight, and there's nothing, you don't know how long certain things are going to last. And I'm like, you just got to embrace the suck, man. It's really hard, And, but I was also thinking about like how I was going to phrase this next thing, because you ever, something like Annie did something to me, a couple of days ago. Annie's she's in the pickleball cult,
Oh, yeah, we know.
And she's
We're going to be cooking
good
in that kitchen, though, someday.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Right.
But she did something, she this is a couple days ago, and it bothers me because of how smooth it was. You know what I mean? Like, you ever do something where, like, it's your, Annie's my wife and my best friend, but like, there are things I'm like, you can't do that, Annie. You know what I mean? Like, you can't talk like that. There's no way. But she did.
Once you're married 32 years, it happens every 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But she did something that was so, like, cliche, but it was so smooth at the same time that I had no rebuttal. So she, we put Addison and Luke in the car. They get in the car to go to school. Shoes on, the whole thing, and she's going in. Walking into the car to drop the kids off, and she's like when Annie goes to play pickleball, she's decked to the nines, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's full pickleball gear, and she puts her hand on the top of the door to get into the car. She starts to step in the car, and her sunglasses were she lifted her sunglasses up and put them on her forehead. And I was like, "Oh, Annie, I see you're going full pickleball mode. Are you playing pickleball today?" She slides into the car, rolls down the window, and then takes one finger, drops the glasses down, and says, "Is the sun out today?"
Whoa.
But Mark, it was so smooth, and she said it smiling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so smooth that I was like, I wanted to say a million things,
Right.
and I couldn't.
Nope.
I couldn't believe how smooth it was.
Mic drop moment.
It was terrible. It was terrible. It's terrible. It's rough.
Let me pivot here. I'm sorry that I asked you questions about this, but do you have any thoughts on what we've watched the last week, where now we had these Power Four leagues?
Why are you even asking me? Why were you even asking?
Well, because it's relevant. So, I mean, do you have any thoughts on? And I've said this for years that college basketball was always worse than football, and I screamed like, so it took Lane Kiffin wanting to bring a player back from the NFL for the 4 power leagues to go, that's it, our foot's down. Where have they been for the last 500 college basketball players that have had a pro contract? The difference is it's not from the NBA, but we just did this with Charles Bediako last year at Alabama. Now we're going to come up with this rule? Now?
Yeah.
Where you been?
Yeah. Well, I think they needed a huge catalyst. And there have been huge catalysts to actually do something. But we live and move in society based upon narratives. It's something that drives me absolutely nuts. But that's a different conversation. But yes, that was a big enough catalyst to push the narrative forward to say that, okay, we don't agree with this and we have to blanket this out. The thing that drives me nuts, Mark, I know you've talked about it. You've seen it. We have talked about it at length. Your audience is probably extremely frustrated with what's going on. I can't blame them. Coaches are frustrated. The fan base, I think, fans of college basketball and college football continue to get just, in my opinion, not cared about at all, as if they don't matter when it comes to college sports, because it's a completely different fan base than pro sports. You can't treat it the same. And I actually feel really bad for college basketball and football fan bases out there. You have no relationship with the team anymore. You have no idea who's eligible. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And what I can't stand is when I see lawyers on social media that all of a sudden when the narrative starts to go against them, they put their hands up and say, I didn't create this chaos. This wasn't me. I'm just doing in the best interest of my clients. Or this is all the NCAA's fault. Or this is not going to be a consistent issue. All this chaos. It's just going to be a one-time. This is only I don't believe you. I don't believe you. It's not that I can provide all this factual evidence that it's just going to be this one-time thing. It's just that I don't believe you. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And eventually you're going to get to a point of where now the save college sports, that's probably going to get passed now. That we had to wait for Congress to do this. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's just absolutely
Can I
ridiculous.
pivot to something else? Because somebody did
please.
ask me to ask you a question, okay? And maybe off air, I'll send you a little bit more information. So a listener who I've met before, and I quasi got to know, has an 11th grade son who plays high school basketball.
Okay.
Pretty good. Puts up decent numbers. 6'4", 6'5". He asked me to ask you, what advice do you have in a world now where opportunities to play in college have drastically changed because of the portal world we live in, where the dad feels 4 or 5 years ago his son would have gotten, I'm not talking Power 4, but pretty decent mid-major opportunities, where even now the kid can't get a visit, the kid can't get a coach. It's just send me your video and we'll get back to you. And while he may end up getting some low-level offers, it's changed. So what advice do you have to that 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grader that was told work hard, where now they struggle to get anybody to talk to them?
Well, I definitely empathize with that father and his son, and the parents and the son and that athlete, because high school athletes are in a total just abyss right now on how to navigate the future of what school you're going to pick. It's a huge decision. We've kind of stopped talking about it, and I think we've stopped talking about it just because it's not exciting to talk about, but it's a monster decision. So I would say this. I think simplicity can still reign supreme when you're being recruited during times of uncertainty like this. And I have talked to a lot of parents and a lot of high school prospects about this. And I think there is one piece of advice that still is the same 20 years ago and now. When you're being recruited, you have to pay attention to how often the head coach is communicating with you. If your only relationship with the school is via an assistant coach or a member of the coaching staff that is not the head coach, you can take that. You can accept that, and you can keep it in your pocket. Your focus on what is going to be your best opportunity lies with the heaviest communication from the head coach. So if there's a head coach out there, even if you feel like you're being under-recruited, if there's a head coach at a low, mid-major that is after you, that is a sign of a head coach that sees a future for that athlete. As big as the school is, as small as the school, as much money you're throwing on, at the end of the day, playing time is going to dictate your future in college basketball. Playing time inside of a system that best enables your skill set to thrive is going to dictate your future in college basketball. An assistant coach, an associate assistant coach, a director of basketball operations, a video coordinator, it does not matter. They have no control over playing time. They have no control how your relationship is with the head coach. They have no control over whether or not the system actually fits your skill set or not. Their job is to recruit you. The head coach's job is to recruit you and to play you. And the more relationship you have, regardless of the school or system, with the head coach, the better decision you will make for the future of your son or daughter.
I like that. That was really good. I want to pivot the last thing here. Klay Thompson signed with the Miami Heat, and nobody would argue the backside of a career. When you think all-time in the NBA of great number twos that played alongside one of the all-time greats, and Jordan and
Yeah.
Pippen obviously will come to mind, and Shaq and Kobe, you might argue who was one and who was two, and Kareem and Magic, Bird and McHale, and all sorts of things. Can you explain how you will look at Steph Curry and Klay Thompson? Because I think they're different than almost any other duo we want to compare here of the positions that they played and how they played off each other. Klay Thompson's 25th all-time in three-point percentage. Steph Curry's obviously higher. But to understand how those two in their prime playing together, how they played and fed off of each other, I'll give you the floor.
I think if you ask Steph Curry offline, this is just a guess.
Yeah.
But if you ask Steph Curry offline, like how helpful was Klay Thompson to your success? And I don't mean just team-wise, I mean individually. I think he would give you a 3-hour answer, both high level and in depth, on how important Klay Thompson was to Steph Curry's individual success. Because when you talk about the Golden State Warriors, that dynasty, that time when they were just on a tear and they were blowing everybody out, and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were going nuts. Steph Curry everybody talks about gravity and spacing and three-point shooting when it comes to Steph Curry, and it's all true and it's all factual. But there was an enormous piece to his game that allowed him to flourish even more because of Klay Thompson, because everybody knew that you also had to defend against the fact that Klay Thompson could also make 8 threes in a game without even breaking a sweat. And so Steph Curry is he's the better basketball player than Klay Thompson, and they're both Hall of Famers. But you had a Hall of Fame guy next to you that provided such elite spacing that it gave you an opportunity to relax your gravity on defense and where everybody's going towards you. And I do think Steph Curry still would have been a Hall of Famer. I do think Steph Curry still would have gotten at least one NBA championship if he didn't have Klay Thompson. But I think the fact that he had that elite, Batman the Robin spacer on the wing absolutely helped his game in a huge way, just like Pippen massively. I mean, he absolutely helped Jordan. There's no question about it. I mean, you go down the line, Kobe and Shaq, all those guys that you mentioned, Bird, McHale, they all benefited from each other. There is no doubt about it. Klay Thompson is still, in my opinion, I think the most underappreciated, not just shooter, but scorer in the NBA in the last 30 years. He's in my opinion, he is incredibly undervalued. I think people will knock on his defense. I think there were times during the height of his career in which I would consider him an underrated defender, actually, and just a really special player. We're really special, and if he's healthy, Mark, I don't care if he's towards the end of his career. How much that's going to help Giannis. How much that's going to help Bam. That Miami Heat team, when they figure it out, that's going to be pretty good.
Do you know the all-time leader in the NBA is in three-point field goal history, minimum 750 made threes?
Oh, man. I don't know.
Steve Kerr.
Oh, how good is that?
45%.
I mean, how good is that?
45%.
How good is that? So he you said how many threes?
Minimum 750 made.
Wow, so he was actually higher than. Okay, yeah. My first reaction is, because I was thinking guys that didn't shoot a high volume, was actually Mark Price or Craig Hodges. But interesting. Yeah, that's really cool.
I'm sorry, 750 attempts. I apologize. 750 attempts, not made. 750 attempts.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I leave you one other thing here? Your thoughts about the decision I made last night and this morning. So I made an incredible jambalaya last night. Fantastic. Just absolutely delicious.
Wow.
And I had leftovers, and I thought, man, I'm going to bring Kelly and Chris some leftovers, and they could have some of my jambalaya. And then I decided, nope, it's going to be a delicious leftover meal for me tonight, and I decided to keep it and not bring it in for the guys.
You know what? 20 years ago, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised to hear you say that.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I'm surprised to hear you say that. I
Yeah.
feel like you dropped the ball, and you saying it now to a live listening audience.
Right.
Really much, I think, pushes me over the limit to where I think you owe them jambalaya now.
Well, maybe the next time I'll make a little bit more, but it's like the perfect amount for leftovers tonight. Like it perfectly fit in the Tupperware.
What do you do? I mean, think about what you just like. Chris isn't sleeping. He's not sleeping.
Oh,
the
no.
Poor guy is just.
I told Tim and Kelly earlier today. See, I think I owed it to them to tell them. I could have not said anything, but I felt like I need to tell them I thought about them. But in the end, I made the decision to keep it for myself.
Hey, I did this terrible, selfish thing. I'm going to be honest about it.
Right.
But I'm not actually going to follow through with it.
Right. But
like you have an opportunity now.
Yeah.
To really show, as the king of sports talk radio.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about taking care of your people? If you should go home tonight and you should make a little jambalaya. But
my mind's completely cleansed, so I'm fine. And tonight, at about 7:15, when I heat out.
Well, what about your soul? Well, what about your soul, Mark?
I'm
what
fine.
about your heart? What about your heart?
I'm fine. I'm
no,
good.
I don't think you are.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You are.
I'm fine.
This is redemption opportunity. Chris, I got your back, man.
I appreciate it, Mike.
Have a great weekend, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
Good stuff from Mike O'Donnell. The 11 o'clock hour kicks off with the news next.
Let's really do the news.
Yes.
Now it is time to do the news.
But now it's time for the news.
11 o'clock hour. WY Jim Orlando, WJR, HD2 Cocoa Beach. The Beat of Sports and Marc Daniels. All live tonight, MetLife Stadium for the biggest preseason matchup of the year when the Giants and Jets play. What? No? Okay. All eyes, I guess, in Jacksonville tonight when the Buccaneers and Jaguars play their preseason game. No? All eyes at Hard Rock Stadium tonight when Tua leads the Falcons on the field against the Dolphins. By the way, there are some people, Chris, that are kind of wondering if he stinks tonight, will they keep him on the roster?
It won't cost them anything to cut him.
It doesn't. Which means, and someone else brought up a good point, have we ever had a quarterback battle where the winner didn't play in the battle? Where Penix, who's not played, would win because Tua's played and been so bad. I can't think of a situation like that before.
I have no idea.
Dylan Gabriel, 3 touchdown passes last night, 12 out of 15. If you're the Browns and someone offers you something, you do it. He's not going to be a quarterback of the future. Dylan played well last night. I actually saw some of that against second and third stringers for the Patriots. If somebody offers you something, you take it.
Yeah, because I don't think they're going to keep him on.
Even if it's a 5th-round pick. Yeah. You take it. You took him earlier, but yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know, because I'm trying to think. Like Pittsburgh.
Keeping 4 quarterbacks. I don't understand.
You have Aaron Rodgers, first ballot Hall of Famer. Yes, he doesn't have a lot left in the tank.
Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, and Drew Aller.
Why are you keeping 4?
I don't know. I mean, we'll see if that. Again, when the cut down happened, let's see. Mike McCarthy, I think, may have been kind last night because he knows when somebody said, hey, rather than saying, look, we got a decision to make, I don't think we can take a 4th quarterback. Maybe he just said, I love all these guys, but I don't know. Let's see when that happens. I mean, you agree that would be a wasted roster spot.
Yes. Honestly, you don't even need a 3rd quarterback. Rodgers, for the most part, he'll play. Unless he suffers an injury, but
right. Yeah.
He'll play.
Florida State begins their season tomorrow. The Week 0 schedule includes the Seminoles and New Mexico State. You've got UNC and TCU and Ireland. You've got North Carolina State, Virginia, Hawaii, Stanford, Memphis, and UNLV if you're all into Week 0. Sweep for the Braves over the Dodgers. All of a sudden, Ohtani can't hit now.
Trouble in L.A.
Chris Sale, the Brewers are 3 games up on the Dodgers for best record. Chris Sale, first complete game since 2019. Dude was locked in last night. His ERA down to 2.06. Jacob Mizorowski helped the Brewers beat the Mets last night. His ERA at 1.73. That's good.
Yeah.
MLB's latest proposal to the Players Association includes shortening a free agency window. They want to try something like the NFL and NBA to generate excitement, going, hey, got to do your business in this 2-week period. Different. Different indeed. Again, if you missed it, we talked to Richard Hill about it. Yesterday, a judge in Texas said, hey, those NFL players, come on. You can go and play. And I didn't argue, Richard. I just said that I think the judge's decision to put the injunction in place, I don't understand when the judge said, basically conferences can't make rules over the NCAA. It's exactly what the NCAA policy allows. Now, Richard's right. There's a gray area there, meaning you can't say, well, you want a lot like 20 years ago. You say players can't be paid. We in the SEC are going to pay. Well, they did under the table, but, we're going to pay them. But the bylaws of the NCAA allow a conference recognized by the NCAA to be a conference to set policy. But round and round and round.
At what point do we start holding these judges accountable?
To what? Do you hold? Some are appointed for life. Some you can vote out. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I'm not picking on you, but I'm going to pick on you. Okay? People that vote, do you think anybody outside of single digits, when it comes to retaining a judge or not, does any due diligence when they go to that vote? Either they go, vote them all out, or yes. How many people sit and go, let me take a look at the background here. What's his position or her position on this? Nobody does that. Many have other appointments that are for life. So
I'm not saying like vote them out, but something's got to be done with these judges.
what do you want to do? Yell at them? Hey, bad guy. I mean, is that what you want?
I don't know, but rules are put in place, and these judges are like, screw your rules. I'm going to allow for something else.
If I am not in the state of Ohio, moving on here. If I'm not in the state of Ohio and you gave me 1 million people to ask the following question, who leads the major leagues with RBIs? How many of the million could get it right?
Less than 5%?
It's Sal Stewart of the Reds, who was the first to get 100 RBIs.
Less than 2%?
I don't think 2 people. Yeah. Yeah. He's a rookie. The last 2 rookies to lead in RBIs, Jose Canseco in 86 and Ted Williams in 1939. About that. 41st edition of Air Jordans, available today in China. We pro stats in that. Daytona this weekend. Coke Zero 400 will take place. And what else do I have for you? PGA Tour Championship continues. And, of course, you got College Football Week 0, got NFL preseason taking place. U.S. Open first round tennis begins on Sunday. Got Red Sox and Yankees this weekend. Big series.
It is.
Big series. And Little League World Series, Nevada and Ohio, the American Championship game, Curacao and Japan. On the international side, the 2 teams then will play in the championship on Sunday. We'll do a weekend review coming up just a little bit. And we'll NFL preview. I do need to slide out a little bit towards the end of the show. I'm honored that the good folks at the Cure Bowl have asked me to host their kickoff luncheon, which I'll be doing in about 45 to 50 minutes or so. So when we come back, we'll get to the weekend review. Reminder, coming up on Monday, we'll do our show, but Monday, 6 o'clock, Night Talk is back. We're at Miller's Ale House at Waterford Lakes. Scott Frost and others will join us throughout the entire season. Miller's Ale House 3 days before the game. So Monday because of a Thursday game. Otherwise, for Saturday games, we'll be out there on Wednesday, 6 to 7 o'clock. You can join us live. Well, the Beat of Sports continues. We come back. The Week in Review is next.
Back at the week that was. It's the Beat of Sports Week in Review with Marc Daniels.
Time to look back on the week that was on this program. Going back on Monday, we were talking a lot this week about college football, and we touched on college football teams not wanting a tough schedule. It's easy to go 12-0 with not that many tough games versus 6-6 being facing a tough schedule. The more tough games you play, you're going to lose a few. And in the NFL, you go 11-6. You have a good year. Had a good year, right? Well, what's the equivalent of that? It's about 8-4 in college football. Now, you may adapt and begin to accept 8-4 because you may end up with a 16-team playoff, and plenty of 8-4 teams make a playoff in a 34-team model. But every time I hear, "Oh, we don't want these cupcake games. We want to play tough games." No, you don't. You want a few tough games. You don't want 9 or 10 tough games. You go, well, the SEC. No, you don't want 9 really tough games because you're not going to win 8 of them. You're not. We want to win. You know when you don't care when you beat up on FCS teams? When you're 12-0. Yeah, but you play, who cares? Right? 12-0 is 12-0. That actually stemmed from a little bit of an argument Andy Staples and I had at a college football event up in Ocala last Saturday. And that was where Andy and I, it was a playful back and forth. His point was about a potential breakaway and why TV networks want that and you get better matchups. And I said, it sounds good in theory, but for fans, do you want to go 6-6 playing a brutal schedule? Or do you want to go 12-0 with a couple of games that really challenge you? And if you go 12-0 with that brutal schedule, it's really fun, but not when you go 6-6, it isn't as fun. On Tuesday's show, Matt Michelle joined us, talking college football among the many things. Asked him about Alonzo Barnett, the UCF quarterback. Matt did a deep dive into Alonzo in a piece for the Sentinel, and I asked him what impressed him the most about the UCF quarterback.
I think for me, what's impressed me the most is just his poise and leadership. You know, when you sit down with a young man and he's talking about the things that I think every coach wants to hear. You know, he talks about being a good teammate. Making sure that he's the voice in the locker room, making sure that he stands up and takes charge. He's not just kind of slinking back in the shadows. He's a guy that wants to be front and center. And it's not like Alonzo has not been there. We've seen it, as you mentioned, at James Madison, what he was able to do to lead the team to the Sun Belt Conference title last year and to go to the college football playoff. He's played on big stages, and I think that's something to me that I think is going to be key for UCF. Their quarterback position has struggled over the last 3 or 4 years. They really kind of missed some of that leadership last year in poise, and I thought in the huddle at the quarterback position, and I think Alonzo gives them that. So you talk to all of the players around him, they love him. They love being out there on the field with him. They think he's a guy that's really going to kind of help elevate this program and get this team to where they need to be to contend.
On Wednesday's program, Stuart Mandel of The Athletic is going to be speaking at the Orlando Touchdown Club on Monday. Joined us. We talked about a whole bunch of things in college football, including the possibility of college football playoff expansion to as many as 24 teams.
Everybody is now in favor of at least 16 among the conferences, including the SEC. And we're in this continued stalemate where the Big Ten and Tony Petitti are all in on 24, and they're not budging. And they've got the other, P4 conferences in Notre Dame in their corner. And I just think that's a disaster. If that happens, it's an absolute travesty for college football, because that's not what college football is about. To have, if you do that, Ohio State's already in the playoff before the season even starts. Your biggest games at the end of the season aren't number 1 versus number 5. It's which 8-3 team is going to keep themselves in the running. I just think a lot of people are just only looking at their own self-interest, right? Coaches are saying, well, I don't want to get fired, and there's only 12 spots, so let's double it. Obviously, the conferences see an opportunity to make money. And by the way, the craziest part of this that makes me wonder, is this real? Is that that they would give up the SEC championship game and the Big Ten championship game to have these, number, I don't remember the exact way it works out, but number 14 versus number 15 kind of first round games.
I mean, you don't like the idea of 16 and 17 playing on TNT at 12:30?
That's what it is.
Yeah. Chris putting a little zinger in there by Daniels at the end, huh?
Of course.
Cam Miller join us on Thursday as he does talking college football. And I asked him, as FSU embarks on its new season, opening against New Mexico State tomorrow night, I said, what does FSU need to be a team that maybe wins 8 games this year?
It's going to have to come down to Marc Daniels. And we always talk about the quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
In this case specifically here, I think there's a lot of pieces on the FSU defense to like. They did a lot at the second level with the linebacking core and recouping what they lost, and then getting a guy like Nehemiah Chandler from South Alabama at cornerback as well. He's a lockdown corner. And so I think you have, in the vein of almost like a Jerrion Jones did and then made his way to the NFL, I think Chandler follows that same route. With what they have on offense, with Danzy and Boggs and even the talented freshman, and then obviously Juice Robinson being who he is, Ashton Daniels at his best was a better, more equipped downfield passer than Jordan Travis was. And so I think, unfortunately, at his worst, he's James Blackman with EJ Manuel's ball skills in the pocket. And that's terrifying for FSU fans that watch EJ Manuel put the ball on the ground and in defenders' hands far too often, Blackman being who he was at quarterback. So the upper echelon that Daniels has, though, he's the guy who I think can unlock Deuce Robinson downfield. And so it's all going to come down to Daniels and whether he can take that next step and showcase what he has talent.
That's our week in review.
Stud of the week.
Mark, I teased it yesterday. I told you I was going to pull a page out of your playbook. Enter Ha-Sung Kim. 5 for 76 on the season against the hated LA Dodgers. A chance to win the game. Let's hear it in Korean.
자, 김하성의 끝내기입니다. 여러분, 오랜만에 외쳐봅니다. 김하성이 해냈습니다.
5 for 76 on the season. There was articles written about him, how bad he's
5
performed.
for 76, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, 5 for 76.
5 for 76. Now 6 for 77, batting 078 on the season. But he comes up clutch.
You think in the dugout, they're like, you got to be kidding me.
What's the
You
little
start heading back for the showers. You're trying to get to the food buffet before everybody else does.
What's the Little League story you told me about your dad waving you home because the kid on deck, you just knew he wasn't going to get a hit?
Right.
That's like this situation. Like, great, we're going to extras. Let's go.
I thought you were making reference to the kid in right field that showed up to his first practice with 2 broken arms in a cast. Dad, did we just had a scarecrow in right field? Like, what is that? No, I mean it was a pretty cool moment. I watched the game live Wednesday, and I'm sitting there and like, oh, okay, whatever.
But Ha-Sung Kim, way to come through in the clutch against the hated Dodgers. Braves are 4-1 against LA this season.
Yeah. So I don't have a highlight like you, but Kinley Rasmus, you know what that is?
Name sounds familiar.
That's the 12-year-old girl that played in the Little League World Series. The daughter of famous, a former Major League pitcher, Corey Rasmus. He played for the team from Phoenix City, Alabama, in the Little League World Series. She set a record for hits for a girl. She's not the first girl. She got 5 hits, a couple of key ones. She was a dominant pitcher for them. 14 strikeouts in the tournament, which tied the all-time record, which was set by Monet Davis in a game. And here's the thing, okay? And I'm not trying to compare what's going on with the WNBA and all that stuff. She played, and she was one of the best players, and it wasn't a story for the wrong reason. It was a story for the right reason, meaning she is one of the best players of the team, and she had big hits, and she was one of the best pitchers, and a big reason why they got there. They didn't win to get to the U.S. Championship game, which is tomorrow, but it wasn't like, hey, they got a girl team. No, she earned it, and she was one of the best players, and it wasn't a story like, oh, my goodness, they got a girl on the team. When Monet Davis played, it was more of a, oh, my goodness, there's a girl playing. And not that Kinley Rasmus didn't deserve the coverage. She was just treated like every other player. Like, oh, my God, there's a girl over there. She was just treated like a player. Didn't matter. She's a girl. Yeah, but she's not playing softball. She's playing baseball, and she's really good. And to me, that was a good story because it wasn't like, oh, my goodness, there's a girl playing in the League World Series. She just played. She loves baseball.
Are you surprised it's not getting more coverage?
It got the right coverage. It got the right coverage of their coverage of the Little League World Series. It got the right coverage on SportsCenter, and it doesn't need to be anything more than that. No one needs to try to make this into anything that it's not. This is a girl that loves to play baseball. Well, she should be playing softball. She loves to play baseball, and she's really good at it. And she earned the spot on the All-Star team, and she was an important player for them on their path to get to Williamsport, to be in the Little League World Series, and it got the right coverage. There's nothing. There's no political, no social message, nothing. There's a 12-year-old girl that loves to play baseball. That's it. Don't make anything else.
Dud of the week.
It's got to be Jed York. Come on, man. A billionaire NFL owner responding to a prostitution ad in a trailer park in Ohio. What are we doing?
That's like a Shane Gillis skit.
I mean, are you serious? A billionaire. What was it, 140, 160 bucks? Are you serious? Come on, man.
Wearing a Yankee t-shirt, by the way.
I mean, my God.
Yeah.
How low, how desperate are you?
Can't help you. Can't help you though.
I mean, I'm speechless, really. A billionaire owner. Wow.
Well, I don't know if he's worth $1 billion. I mean, the family is. He ain't worth $1 billion, but the family. All right, my dud of the week, and I talked about this during the week, although in yesterday's program I kind of did this monologue about the beauty of college football, but the power for commissioners, presidents, and athletic directors, all of them. In the end, LSU apparently did abstain from the vote about not taking pro players back. There was a report that said 16-0, but the actual formal vote of record, they abstained, was 15-0. Every other league in the Big Ten, the SEC, the Big Ten, ACC, and the Big 12 were unanimous vote. And they're all the duds of the week. Because, again, it took Lane Kiffin, the favorite villain, to try to bring back a players that have been on an NFL roster for then you go, hey, you know what? Now we're going to act as leaders. We're going to act as appointed leaders because we didn't the previous years. So policy we're going to put in place so quickly and be so passionate about it that we're going to really hold the line. And for years, it sounded like there's nothing I can do. I mean, nothing I can do. And then just like that, in a 48-hour period, all 4 power leagues in college athletics had their leaders step up and say, we're not going to stand for this. Are you with me? We're with you. Let's make it a rule. It's a rule. Now enforce the rule. Commission, you have the power to do that. That fast it happened. And they could do this anytime with any other rule that they want. They're the duds because they didn't do things that they could have done for years. And now act as tough guys by doing this. That's the week in review. We're back with the NFL preview. It's the final week of the regulars of the preseason, but we still get you set for the weekend that is. We'll do that next.
Time to go around the NFL. Here's the Pigskin Preview on the Beat of Sports.
All right, we'll get set up for the NFL start of the season when we got a whole bunch of games we'll talk about. But, Chris, let's do a little bit of an NFL preview. We did have games last night. We got some games tonight. Let's run through some stuff and maybe some of the storyline. Commanders and Ravens. It hasn't been a great offensive camp in Washington. People haven't had good things to say about that.
Not a lot of good things in general going on in Washington, specifically, obviously, with Jane Daniels.
Tua returns to Hard Rock Stadium tonight. Falcons and Dolphins will play.
Can't boo him.
He'll get booed.
You shouldn't.
Can the Dolphins muster more than 3 first downs, which is what they did against the Giants in last week's game? Texans and Panthers play tonight. That's right. Kenny Pickett's there in Carolina. Yeah.
CJ Stroud playing because he's got some things to work on.
Big night for Jameis. Giants Jets tonight. Big game. Big game. You want momentum. Got to get a win, so we got a 2-game win streak going into the regular season. What? Is this thing on? Bucks and Jags tonight. They did a dual practice for a couple of days, so they'll play tonight. Don't expect many starters to play.
Nope. Baker with high praise, though, saying Jacksonville was running around with, like, their heads on fire.
There we go. Saints, Cowboys.
You seen the way the Cowboys look? It's night and day from last year. That defense.
Oh, now he cares about the preseason.
Christian Parker, baby.
Yeah. Cardinals, Packers tonight.
Packers signed Jonnu Smith yesterday.
Seahawks and Chiefs go tonight. Bengals, Eagles, and Vikings, Broncos. Saturday, Lions and Colts, and the Bears and Titans is the schedule for the NFL final weekend of the preseason. A reminder, week 1, Wednesday, September 9th. So we're now less than 2 weeks away. The Patriots and the Seahawks will play that game in Seattle. And then on Thursday, we're in Melbourne for the Niners and the Rams.
Can I ask you something really quick?
Yes.
We touched on it briefly yesterday about the Falcons quarterback situation and Tua. And Tua hasn't looked good. Michael Penix coming back from injury. He doesn't even want to play.
Yeah.
I'd asked you if the quarterback starting week 1 for the Falcons is on their roster now.
Yeah.
Could this be an audition week 3 of the preseason? All these backups? Could this be a preseason and Atlanta looks at one of them like, you know what, this guy's looked really good?
You trade for a starting quarterback after the 3rd preseason game?
Are you
I have to go back and look and see the last time that happened.
What, would you be confident in rolling into the season with what you got now?
You're that low on Cooper Rush, huh?
It's not that I'm that low, but, I mean, if they're keeping him 3rd on the depth chart.
I'd be stunned. I mean.
And I love me some Cooper Rush, by the way.
Like, the Dolphins are likely to pick up somebody who gets cut because they've been so bad at quarterback. But the trade for a guy to start in week 1? Wow.
Again, to me, Joe Flacco's the perfect guy.
Why? I like Joe Flacco as a backup. I don't want to get rid of Joe Flacco.
If you're the Bengals, but if the Falcons offer you like a 4th, a 3rd.
Boy. If I'm the Bengals anticipating Joe Burrow getting hurt, I don't know if I want to get rid of Joe Flacco.
They did lose Jake Browning.
That's it for the NFL preview.
All right, and as we do every Friday with Mike having a skedaddle, we welcome Kurt from Maxine's on Shine, who, Kurt, I'm sorry if I just offended you.
Oh, Chris, it aches the bottom of my heart, of my football heart, to have to confirm my favorite of all time team of the NFL. Oh my goodness. And in here, I thought you were a deep, trusted soul that I could relay my innermost sorrows and joys of football all this time, only to know that that's truly how you Cowboy fans are.
Oh, come on!
Unless you wear the star, man, you don't bleed anything other than your silver and blue. I get it.
Not only do I wear my star, I have the star tattooed permanently on my body now.
And I heard that. And beside your daughter's name,
that's
is
right.
That correct?
The Cowboy star and the Seminole spear.
There we go. All right. Very nice. Well, I can pull for 2 of them, the Seminole spear and your daughter. Absolutely.
Fair enough. Before we get to magical dining, I did want to ask you, Vita Vea Going to be around in Tampa for at least one more year. How happy, how excited are you about that?
Well, it absolutely it's I think it's a tremendous thing. And certainly with some of the question marks that we have with the youthfulness on our defense and some of the transitions that we've had, to be able to have him back there and know that we don't have to worry about that, him truly being able to anchor and be that voice with the team as we got the youngster coming on, Bain, and then our other guys that we brought in, Anzalone and Robinson from Detroit. Along with Winston Jr. in the backfield, I think it's going to be an outstanding defense this year. Really excited to see what happens there. Jeremiah Trotter coming in, sounded like he's going to do good, and then of course the return of David Walker after the season-ending injury right before the season started last year. So I'm anticipating good stuff from the Bucs on the defensive side of the ball, and hey, man, anytime I got Baker Mayfield motivated in the backfield, he's going to be slinging it. Super awesome. And I'm excited to see what the receiving trio does between Emeka Buka and Jalen and Chris Godwin as the starters, and of course the upstarts there. So, and excited for the running backfield. So overall, I'm stoked. And by the way, the guy, the special teams coach, you can't leave out because you win the games with special teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy is on fire, and so it should be an outstanding turnaround for the Bucs on that. So I am a motivated Buccaneer fan for this season, my brother. Indeed.
Tell me why I and other folks should be ecstatic to be going to Maxine's on Shine. What do we got going on?
Well, man, we continue to get so many people walking through the doors right now and saying what is bringing them to our place. There's a couple things. One, obviously the promotion that is Magical Dining. For those of you that have not gotten out yet, well, we're about a week and a half into this program now, everybody, and this is the biggest event of the year for all the foodies in you. So I call it the largest Epicurean staycation season of the year. You get to enjoy a 3-course price-fixed meal at about a 30% savings off the normal menu price, and you're getting this for $40. $40, and a portion of the proceeds are going to help to benefit charities in town. And this one this year actually is benefiting those with autism and other learning disabilities. So it's a wonderful cause. So it's good to do good for yourself, and it's good to do others while you're doing that. My man, I got to tell you, people cannot believe what we're putting out there. When you talk about beautiful fish, a fish dish on here, we've got Atlantic swordfish. We're filleting that bad boy in-house, 6 to 7 ounces coming in. We're going to do a light blackening seasoning on that. Going to put a pineapple salsa. Oh, keep that. You think about being out there, being at the beach, being on the water, that sort of thing. Well, we're going to bring it all home for you. That nice citrusy notes and pineapple over top of it, tropical kind of vibe that's there with that. Going to do a sweet potato mash with it. Absolutely glorious. Our chefs, every week Chef Tom is looking to do something by land, by air, by sea to bring out a really fun new feature. So if you came last week, his feature, his magical mystery meal, is going to be a little bit different than the previous week. So this week he is doing a spicy shrimp and drunken dates. Drunken, that sounds like the title of a CD or something. Spicy shrimp and drunken dates. Or man, we're going to put that over a goat cheese polenta with a garlic butter sauce. Oh man, layer of flavor in which you can savor right there with that. Of course, the Wagyu Carpaccio, or the Wagyu top sirloin filet. 6 ounces, Wagyu beef, Australian Wagyu. We're going to top that with an au poivre or a peppercorn cream sauce on there, chive mashed potatoes, good old-fashioned green beans and carrots on the side with it. Those are just the entrees. Chris, I'm telling you, we continually get people, they say they take a look at all the menus for Magical Dining, and I know you've got about 170 choices, folks, 170 different restaurants that are participating in this, and we continually hear yours is the most interesting and in-depth menu that's out there, and we really take a lot of pride. We're in it to win it, brother. When you got a lot of ways to go, and I know the cash flow is a little bit tight for a lot of folks right now, we really want to entice you with a great meal, and then dial that in with wonderful service, outstanding cocktails. I've got a wine selection for you already paired out for every item that we have on the menu, so you don't even have to think about it. Take all the guesswork out of it. We just want you to come in to where life is good in the neighborhood and share some quality times with either with your wife, your husband, your friends, your coworkers, and take advantage of that magical dining. So there's that. And then the other thing, Chris, we've got to say thank you again to the readers of Orlando Magazine and to Orlando Weekly. Orlando Magazine readers named us a best downtown restaurant, best cocktail list, and best pet-friendly restaurant. And then we just got in Orlando Weekly this past week. We got best downtown restaurant, best brunch, best outdoor dining, and best Bloody Mary. So we are, folks, we say one of the greatest blessings in life is put a smile on another person's face, and you never want to waste a moment of that because it's a beautiful moment to get to taste. So we're looking to bring it to everybody all the way around between the food, the drinks, the atmosphere, the service, and just really want to celebrate and have a good time with everybody coming out to see us.
Real quick before I let you go, Kurt, I got to talk a little bit of fantasy football here. I know Mark's in the league with you. When's the draft? Where's he picking? Where's your picking? What's your strategy?
Yeah. So the vaunted walk 100 yards in her cleats that helps to benefit Alzheimer's awareness research. We're going to be actually drafting that tomorrow morning at Maxine's on Shine.
Okay.
And by the way, that's a quick reminder to everybody. If you haven't figured out a place where you're going, please reach out to us online or give us a call and let me know if you're interested in bringing in your team and doing that. The commissioner of the league, you get to eat for free. Bring in your entire team, you get to eat for free. So I'd love to have you out. So yes, I'm drafted in the number 8 slot. I've done a few mock drafts. Not my favorite place to draft because you're kind of in that middle area there, so it's really kind of hard to track and see where people are trending. I like to draft either really right at the front or towards the very end, so I can really kind of see what the way that they're building their rosters, and I can kind of look a little bit lower down into the later rounds to better pick who's I think is going to be the best value in front of me right now without sacrificing opportunities that will fall to me naturally in the draft a little bit later on. Mark, I think he actually is in about the number 3 spot this year, if I recall correctly. So he's looking good. I'm feeling really good about it. I do a fair amount of listening to you guys and online throughout the year, so I stay prepped for it, and that way I get to promise Maxine, yeah, honey, I dedicate an hour a week to fantasy football. Now that can be like her shopping minutes when she says, honey, we got to go shopping for an hour, but it's actually like 3 hours, that kind of thing. But I'm really excited for fantasy football. We got a lot of leagues going on and some people coming out, and it's just a fantastic way to share a good time of football season with your friends. So there we go.
Kurt, very quickly, how do they make reservations? How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah. The best way, everybody, to join us at Maxine's on Shine or to learn more about us, go online to maxinesonshine.com. Right there on the homepage, you can click on the Open Table tab and look for the times and tables that are available for you. And if you want, you put in your notes there. If you prefer to sit inside, outside, a high top, a low top, we do the very best that we can to accommodate those requests. Can't always do it, but we'll certainly have a better shot of making sure you get exactly the seat that you want if you let us know ahead of time. Please let us know, too, if it's an anniversary, a birthday, a graduation, maybe somebody got a job promotion. We really, really appreciate when you let us celebrate those really precious moments in life. There you can also take a look at our menus, our entertainment lineups, our live music on the weekends, and everything that we've got going on. So maxinesonshine.com or give us a call at 407-674-6841. That's 407-674-6841. We look forward to celebrating the Epicurean passions of life with everybody very soon. Chris, as is always, big thanks to you and Mark. Hope you have a stellar weekend. Good luck on your fantasy drafts, and look forward to seeing you sometime soon, my brother.
Yes, sir. Much appreciated. Kurt, missed any of that, go to, again, maxinesonshine.com. We're back to put a wrap on the Friday show next. missed anything during the week, just go to where you get your favorite podcast, type in the Beat of Sports on demand, like, subscribe. Don't miss a beat of the Beat of Sports. See what I did there? That'll put a wrap on the week. We'll catch you next week. For Marc Daniels, I'm Chris Vasquez. This has been the Beat of Sports.